welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Sajid, studying computer science at Swarthmore College, and this is the very first episode of my talk show, TechTalk with Sajid, where I'll be inviting successful Bangladeshi students working as software engineers, analysts, quants, or any sort of technical or leadership role beyond the border of Bangladesh, and I'll be sharing their journeys with you all. This very first episode, I have a special person with me, Talha Choudhury. Talha worked at Amazon as a technical writer intern last summer. Typically, students pursuing CS or any sort of IT-related major, they apply for an internship to gain hands-on experience, and they usually do that in their junior or sophomore summer. Talha landed an internship at Amazon while being a freshman at Bennington College. So I'm super excited to learn more about his journey and share with you all. So without any further ado, let's get started. Yeah, why don't you start by giving a brief introduction about yourself?
Hi guys, my name is Talha. I studied at Bennington College. I study computer science, economics, and music. People think it's a triple major, but it's not. It's the thing about Bennington, you can create your own major, which I did. So I kind of study some diverse topics. Yeah, in my free time, I play a lot of pool. On the tech side, I'm interested in software engineering, product management, and technical writing, which I can talk about it today.
My question to you is, what did you do as a technical writer intern at Amazon? I mean, in what ways it was different than working as a software engineer intern at Amazon?
That's a good question. So before joining Amazon, I actually had no idea about technical writing as a career or anything. And I don't even remember the time I applied to Amazon. I just remember the day I got invited for the interview, because I sent a lot of applications, and one day I just woke up and then there was this interview. Congratulations, you have been invited to an interview. Definitely said that was the best day of my life. But going forward, technical writing, as I learned being on the job, is not only the simple way to describe technical writing is writing documentation. But when you're writing at a big tech company, there is a lot of things that goes on to. It's not just the technical writing thing, not just includes writing documentation. There are other ways that you can explain a particular user to a set of features or whatever technology that you are working on. So for example, by creating video tutorials, by creating demos, things like that, all these are part of technical content experience. So as a technical writer, my part of the job was mainly coding focused. So what I worked was this particular technology called Apache Airflow, and Amazon has this service called MWAA, which is managed workflows for Apache Airflow. And my job was to rewrite all the code samples for MWAA inside this documentation. So some of the work I did mostly was on coding, but I also had to work with the whole document in order to update the necessary steps in order to get to that code. So that's basically technical writing in general.
My second question to you is, how many internships did you apply?
Well, you'd be shocked. The number, which I did not release anywhere yet. This is the first time I'm saying it publicly. There was this Business Insider article a year ago, was that this girl applied to 300 internships, and this was like a big record type of thing. Why don't I double that? And so I applied to 647 applications. I still have the record.
Yeah, oh my God.
I tracked all of them in Notion. I still have the record of all the day I applied, the outcome I get, everything from start to finish. We had a joke inside Amazon with this, like the day I gave my final project presentation, like present basically the whole project. What happens at Amazon is that you are during your internship, at the end of the internship, you present your project to the whole team. Just giving that presentation, and then after the presentation, we just talk about the project and everything I did. And after the presentation, we went on team dinner. Teammates asked me, well, Talha, how do you end up at Amazon? And then the conversation started, like how I applied. And when I said I applied to 647, they just fell from the sky. Like, why didn't you say that in the project presentation? This is what we want to hear. That was just boring stuff. You should have. And then he made the joke that, well, if you did apply to this many internships, how many Tinder swipes do you do?
All right. So my next question to you is, what kind of experience did you have when you applied for Amazon?
So I did I was a bit lucky in that context that I had a kickstart in my CS journey when I was in high school. I started coding back in 8th grade. So from then on, I was in coding competitions. I was in hackathon, science fair, tech fairs. So I've certainly done my share of coding and things. In terms of work experience as a like real technical internships, I did not have one. I had a research internship before at a research lab, which was located in Bangladesh, and a particular research topic was very different from computer science. It was like related to computational biology. Things that helped me more were the things that I did outside the class, such as I have a blog in my website where I write occasionally. Also the things that I do, like the startups that I've been involved in, those kinds of things really helped me. And most of the things, like in big techs, what happened is where you submit your resume, and your resume has to go through ATS check, which is automated application tracking system.
Yeah.
So yeah, this ATS check, in order to pass that ATS check, I basically had to go through all this technology before. So I need to say that, well, I did that in some context, which wasn't like really a big experience. Having that in my resume definitely helped get through that.
Did you have any referral, or did you know any recruiters or something?
So for Amazon, I did not have any referral, and this is certainly definitely something I recommend people to look up to. People are very enthusiastic about giving referral because they have this referral system. Like if you get hired through the referral, and then they get some compensation and things like that. So in order to apply to especially big companies, you can go up to LinkedIn and search the company name and plus referral. So you can just search Amazon referral, or say Tesla referral, and you will find people just with the referral code or referral things like that. And this is certainly definitely a hack to keep in mind.
So it's about the timeline. Do you remember when did you apply to Amazon?
For Amazon, I certainly do not remember. It's so surprising because I had like all the 647. I have it all documented, like the day I applied, the day I got replied, and everything. And I scanned through that the day I got invited for interview. I scanned through that, and I don't see Amazon listed in there. So I think I applied to Amazon as a joke because I did not think I did not think that I would get in my freshman year. So I just sent it, and then I forgot about it. I don't need to list it because it's a joke or whatever. But certainly remember the day I got invited for the interview. It was April, so it was certainly late phase where people don't get replied that late in April. So I at the start of the April, I got the interview invite. So I think I was one of the last hirees in the process. Because mostly internship applications in these top tech companies, it closes by February. And so I think I applied around January, I believe, and then I got reply in April.
Would you advise the future applicants to apply as early as possible?
So yeah, that's another thing, especially for Amazon, because they hire a lot of interns. What happens on the recruiter level is that each recruiter have a head count. They have to fill out that head count by a certain deadline. And so if you apply especially early, it works as a rolling basis, because Amazon is one of the ones that starts very early, and then they keep recruiting up until like late, because they need a lot of interns. They're probably the company that hired the most number of interns. And so the day actually the application gets open, it's around I think in August. I think if you apply as early as possible, you have the higher chance of getting your resume viewed, or like getting the automated what do you call, the not automated, like after the ATS check, you get the OA invite, which is within a week. So if you apply as early as you can certainly get the OA invite a lot early.
Do you remember what was your interview process look like in terms of OA questions, the difficulty levels and everything?
So I had an exceptional case in this. So I applied, as I said, like I heard back from them like really late, like in April. At that point, I had 2 other offers, and I had like competing deadlines. So whenever when I got the invite, and I had the deadline to accept another offer like within a week or something. So I emailed my recruiter that hey, I have this competing deadline, so can you expedite my interview process? And that is something they can do for you, and which they did for me is that they expedited my interview process. And so for technical writing role, I had to submit, the process was that I do the ATS, like I get past the ATS and then I get invited for an interview. And before that, they ask you to submit a technical writing sample. And so I submitted that, and they expedited my writing scoring, which is like on their end, they like do it as fast as they possible. And then after that, they expedited my interview like within a week, and then I had my interview. It was about an hour-long interview with one of the senior technical writers. Interview process was as a technical writer intern interview, would look like. So I was asked a bunch of technical questions. I was asked about all the technologies that I listed in my resume, that how did I work with those, things like that. Then I was asked things related to technical writing things. And then I think, so I think in general, you get 2 interviews, because I had an expedited situation. I think I got 1 interview because of that reason, or you get 1 interview in general. I can't be sure because of that situation. So I had my behavioral interview and technical interview in the same interview. And they asked the behavioral question as usual, then the technical part as usual. And then I heard back from them within like another week.
Would you also recommend or advise to apply as many internships as possible?
So it's really hard to say because, okay, so the point, I think, even though I don't remember when did I apply to Amazon, like I can give a certain bar that after how many applications I sent the Amazon application, because I have that in mind, like in the process. So I think I applied to Amazon after like about submitting 300 applications before, like other applications. So logically, if I think about it, if I didn't submit those 300 applications, I'd never go to that Amazon technical writing application, those part. So that's one thing. Then the other offers that I have is certainly the other things that I didn't start hearing from recruiters until after like my 100 application. So certainly a lot of mistake that I see a lot of freshmen, like who wants to have these internships. I see them like applying to 20, 30 internships and thinking that that's good enough. It's certainly not. In general, the practice in the whole CS major industry, the whole thing is like you apply at least 200. That's the everywhere kind of stats.
200.
Yeah, if you go on Reddit anytime, if you go to CS major, you'll see people going crazy. 100 is like the normal bar for people. Then 200 is the norm of people doing. So certainly that's where I think you should set your bar if you're a freshman or sophomore and trying to get to an internship at least. That's something you should apply as much as you can. Then you might get lucky, and that's what you want. You want to get lucky because nobody cares about freshmen and sophomore. Like everywhere you apply jobs is junior, seniors, and so getting as a freshman or sophomore is really challenging.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I also think that luck matters a lot, like in the whole interview process and stuff.
Right.
So yeah, so you were saying something like you started coding since 8th grade, right? So would you recommend having good side projects or like past experience before applying to these big tech companies like Amazon?
So a lot of people, that's a very good question actually. So a lot of people ask me this question, that do I need like a lot of side projects, or do I need to code a lot? So there is 2 ways you can go for this. So experience of applying to these 600 companies, I know that there is certain companies that are project heavy. So they don't care about much of your coding ability, in terms that they send you like coding tests as soon as you apply. They have project-based technical interviews. So for example, Shopify interview is like you submit a project and you talk about your life story and a project, and they interview with solely based on that project. they don't ask you any lead code questions or anything else. So there are companies that are this project based. If you want to go for that, then you want to focus on this project based approach and do that. And the other approach is, which most companies are, is that coding based. And as soon as you apply, if you get past the ATS check, they will submit, they will send you an online assessment, which is the first coding test you have to pass through in order to get to the second round and third round and so forth, which is most normal for companies like Amazon, Google, Meta, and all that. If you want to do that, then doing lead code gives you like the most chances in order to go through, like, because once certainly that one thing is you have to pass the ATS check. So that's something you have to do with your resume, so that you can do like watching, taking courses or things like that, having the right keywords in your resume. After you do that, then your only job is to do as much lead code as you can. It's not as much as you can, it's like the right approach. There is a right approach, which I'm not going to talk about it because it will take a lot of time. So there's right approach, right problems, right pattern of problems. You solve that number of problems and things like that. Then that would give you a higher chance of getting an internship and passing the interviews and so on and so forth. Because a lot of companies don't even care about projects. They want to see you whether you can code the basic things. And so lead coding is the most common path, which is frustrating, but yes.
How many problems did you solve from lead code?
Yeah, so for me, I actually started doing so I told you, like, I started coding a lot early. So I started at an age doing coding completions early. And it's not only lead code, I have experience in coding like in about like 10 to 15 online judges. There is SPOJ, there is Light OJ, there is APOJ, like a lot of online charges that I've gone through over and over the count. I think I've solved over 600 to 800 problems. But in lead code, I was certainly new to lead code, and lead code did not interest me, especially when I first came to college. It's certainly something I want to and plan to do, but I think I did not solve a lot of lead code questions when I started applying to internships. Because I was in the project heavy side of things. I had a lot of projects and hackathons and things like that. And so I was really looking forward to that. And again, the role I interviewed for technical writing, I did not need a lot of lead coding experience for that as well. So I definitely was in the lucky bunch of that side. Yeah.
Apart from lead code, what other resources did you use to prepare yourself for the technical interviews?
So there is a lot of things out there. It's only depends on how much cheaper you look for and how much you are willing to look for. So one of the things there was that this there is Pete CSC, which is like a GitHub page for at least like all the internships that are open out there, which was a really helpful resource for me last year. It opens, I think, from every year now. There is one this year. And you have they have this listed number of all the internships that are open, and you search through that, you look for that, and those links take you to somewhere else, things like that help you in terms of applying. I have this website called rubric.com. So I listed a lot of resources that I come across. Like, it's hard for me to say the links or the names, like it's not in my mind, but I list all the resources for freshmen, juniors, like categorically in my website. If anyone's interested, you definitely can look for that. And like a lot of it is Googling the right things, like searching the right things. There is Reddit option, Reddit CS Major, subreddit is a really great resource for anything related to internship or things like that. You just search your stuff. If you're interviewing for a company and you search the name of the company in that subreddit, you'll see that people who interviewed like past years, they shared their experiences, things like that. Lead code discussions is another important resource. You see a lot of things in lead code discussions. So it's about like smartizing your learning process on the way and seeing what works for you. Thousands of resources, and I can go on so forever, but I think the ones that I mentioned are the most helpful. when I applied to this many internships, a lot of the things you see a common pattern of the things that companies ask you. So I saw a lot of pattern of wanting Python is wanting people who have skills in Python, especially like when you have these complicated sets of like programming language set and you are confused which one you should pick for. But Python is something to go for Python, and then you have React is really popular in the US. If you want to go for the web development track, I suggest you do the Odin project. There's something this course it takes like it's the best open source curriculum for web development. So the Odin project is something if you don't have anything for this summer or the next summer, you can spend the summer doing the Odin project, and that would give you a certain edge in in getting the next internships. The other thing I want to mention is that a lot of people make the mistake of thinking that they have to have the internship at first, even though they don't have any experience or any kind of coding background or anything, and thinking that they have to have the just internship and they keep applying for the internship. That makes them also not get the internship or not develop any valuable skill. If you don't have anything for a summer, like if you don't have any background for the job, then you certainly don't want to try and spend your time on there. Rather, you want to spend the time developing the skill. Other thing is there is a lot of what they call it early career programs, which is like it's not really internship. It's just the for first year, second year dedicated. Google has Google Step, Microsoft has Explore, Duolingo has Duolingo Thrive, Amazon has Amazon Propel, Uber has Uber Star, Dropbox has Dropbox Launch. I could go forever. So there is this certain dedicated programs for freshmen and sophomores, and you certainly want to apply for these ones and like get a bunch of these things on your resume so that you can apply to the internship, real internships later on in your life. Also, the fellowships are really good ones. There is this Mount MLH fellowship, which is something something to shoot for. So look this up and see what you can do from there.
Such a valuable advice. Thank you so much, Talha. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit the like and subscribe button. It supports the channel a lot. Hopefully I'll see you guys in another episode of Tech Talk with Sajid. Till then, stay tuned.